I want to make a sign to hang up outside the studio for this year's haunt, and I have a good idea of what I want to do. Let's go inside and I'll tell you about it. Well, hello there. If you're new to the channel, my name's Todd. Welcome. Well, like I was saying, I want to make a sign to put outside of the studio for this year's home haunt. And as you can see, I'm doing an Egyptian theme. So I want to make a sign that kind of tells what this is in here. And again, if you haven't seen some of my other videos, what I'm wanting this to be in here is like a sideshow, museum, Egyptian attraction. And so I want to make a little sign that represents that. And what I'm going to call this little haunt here is Mysteries of Egypt. And so I want to make a sign that says that. And I've got the perfect idea and the perfect materials to do it. My original plan for the sign was to use a piece of this old plywood. Real thin stuff, lightweight. I use it for a lot of my projects. I used it for my grandfather clock. I used it for my cash register. I used it for my old time radio. I use it for a lot of different things. I used it for a coffin too. So I had a piece of this left over. And what I was going to do was just simply trim this up and then add some wood framing around the edge, paint my sign on it, put the lettering, put a piece of chain on it, and hang it outside of the studio. But all that changed a couple weeks ago when I had a little accident. I was moving things around and my mirror that I bought last year for the Undertaker theme fell off the wall and the frame for the mirror broke. The mirror didn't break, that's funny, but the frame did. As you can see, this piece cracked. I had a piece off here that broke off, and then down here, this piece here cracked. Now, like I said, the mirror didn't break, so I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just kind of fix this, glue it all back together, put this board in the back, put the mirror in there, and hang it back up, and it'll all be good. But a few weeks later, I was moving things around, and the mirror broke, which I knew that was going to happen. I mean, I just knew it, and it did. So now I'm left with just this frame here. So that's what I'm going to use to make my sign. This is another one of those projects that will probably take me a couple weeks to finish. Not because it's hard, just because I'll probably start it and then I'll move on to another project before I finish this one. That just seems to be the way I operate. Now, as far as the color combination for the sign, I totally haven't figured that out yet in my mind, but I'm thinking that this outside here will probably be a combination of red, black, gold. And then the back here will probably be painted all black with some like white and gold lettering. I think. I don't know. I'm going to have to get in there and start it and then see what I like. As far as what the sign is going to say, it's going to be relatively simple. It's going to say the mysteries of Egypt. Very simple. Now, I'm also underneath here, I'm going to use another piece of wood that I'll cut down and probably hang off the bottom there. And on that little piece of wood there, I'll probably have like the hours that this exhibit is going to be open. And then maybe another little piece of wood under that that says open or close. So that's the plan. So now I'm going to fix this frame and start the process of making my sign. These cheap paintbrushes that I got at the Dollar Tree are about useless, but I kind of like the look that it's given. I have an idea of what I want it to look like. I'm just kind of gone with it. I think I'm going to use some black spray paint and kind of spray paint the outside edge of this frame, the inside edge of the frame, and then all along the outside edge of the board. Not sure if that'll look good or not, but I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. It's been a few weeks since I last worked on my sign project, but today I'm going to finish it up. As you saw earlier in the video, I took and cut off some pieces that had broken on the frame, and then I took my sander and sanded it, and then I painted it. I had some black flat paint that I use for my murals behind me here. And I took and painted the whole thing with the black flat paint. And then I had some black spray paint that had like a little bit of a gloss to it. And I just kind of hit it in different spots just to give it some different variations of color. So now I'm going to go ahead and write on it what I want it to say. Now, I was looking around for some paint markers because I really enjoyed working with the markers when I did this over here. It was just so much easier to write the letters using the markers than it is to paint them, at least for me anyways. So I went to the Dollar Tree and they didn't have paint markers, but they had these chalk writers. Basically kind of the same thing, I'm hoping, but it's a permanent like a paint, but it's supposedly like chalk, so it has like the texture and look of chalk. So I bought some white and I bought some gold, and I bought 2 of each because I'm not sure how far they're going to go. So that's what I'm going to use. And plus, they were only like $1.25 each. So that's what I'm going to use to write the lettering on this sign. And if I don't like it, I'll go back and maybe paint over it. But I think this will turn out fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of chalk and I'm going to write on this board here what I want this sign to say using the chalk. And then I'll take my markers and fill in the outlines there. As simple as that. So let me get started. And the chalk is nice because you can take a rag and wipe the chalk off, and you'll never know that it was even there. I'm going to do something like this. As you can see, I'm not the best at doing this, but just kind of gives me an idea of what I wanted to say, and then I'll try to clean this up as I create the letters. And in case you're wondering, if you can't read it, it says Mysteries of Egypt. Not sure I like it, but we're going to go with it. Well, that's the hard part, just doing it. I know it doesn't look the best, but we'll go through and we'll clean it up. Well, let me show you what I have. Hopefully you can see that, the whole thing. Not too bad. I went ahead and added some red spray paint to the edges. I just felt like it needed a little bit of color. That red reminds me of like a sideshow or circus. Thought it looked nice. And I also added some other designs, as you can see up here at the top and at the bottom. I used my stencil that I bought off Amazon to add some designs here. Now, I had a little problem. Well, not really a problem, but I got to looking at these little chalk markers that I bought at the Dollar Tree. And I put my glasses on and started reading a little bit closer, the fine detail. And I guess this stuff is washable. So in theory, I could take a wet rag and wipe this off. Well, I don't want to wipe it off. So what I did was, I went ahead and real carefully took the chalk off. But as you can see, it still has like a blue tint to it, which is fine. I kind of like the way it looks. But after I wiped all the chalk off, I took and put some of the spray gloss on the entire piece. So hopefully this spray gloss, clear gloss, will hold all this on here and keep it from being rubbed off. That's where I'm at now. Now I also went ahead and made an open and close sign that I'm going to hang off the bottom here that I can flip around. See if I can get that on there. Hopefully you can see that. So this will be on here and I can flip it open, close. Now I'm going to use some old rope. And that's what I'm going to use, I think, to hang this picture frame out, or the mirror frame here, out on the outside wall. And then I'll also use some rope to put in these holes here to hang this off the bottom. Now I have some hooks, eye hooks. I'm either going to drill a couple holes in here, or I'll use these eye hooks at the bottom and top to hang the rope on. But so far I'm really happy with it. So I think what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and attach the rope, and then I'll hang it up outside and I'll show you what it looks like. As you can tell, I decided not to use the rope. I went with this small chain and some wire. I thought it looked better and it just fit nicer on the piece. So there it is. I'm pretty happy with it. Is it exactly how I envisioned it when I decided to make it? Not 100%, but it looks pretty close. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be making lots of videos on my Egyptian home hop this year. It'll be a whole series, probably be 15 to 18 videos in the series. So if this interests you, consider checking out my channel. You might find something else you like. Until then, talk to you later.